good morning to everyone who is joining our Shared Services Symposium. Welcome to all of you, a very warm welcome. My name is Kaya King. I'm the Chief of Staff for the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. It is such a privilege and pleasure to see so many of our municipal leaders joining this local government services, Shared Services Symposium today. And we're really excited to share some resources, information, and truly hear from some cutting edge subject matter experts in this space. So today, our goal is simple: to expand your knowledge on the diverse range of opportunities that shared service agreements can touch upon and the benefits that they provide to your communities. We have some folks who are coming in. I'll give a couple of intro remarks and we'll go through our schedule today. We are fortunate to have the opportunity to learn from municipal leaders and subject matter experts from across the state. And those who have tackled some serious community issues that have incorporated shared service agreements and solutions into management strategies to address those problems. We're going to learn about the approaches they took, the road bumps they overcame, and most significantly, the benefits provided to their communities. We also have our expert DCA staff on the symposium today, and they're going to showcase shared service success stories, some that are as simplistic as street cleaning and others as monumental as overhauling an entire court system. No small feat, especially for all of us who are well familiar with New Jersey. We are also going to be providing guidance on how your town may begin to explore creative solutions to the big and small challenges that are being posed and forged in these partnerships. You also learn how DCA grants can help offset the costs that are associated with shared services and provide funding to hire dedicated staff, making the pursuit of creative solutions, concept feasibility and implementation achievable goals when seeking cost savings and enhanced services. Lastly, we've made sure to save some time for one of the best parts of this program, and that's really to hear your questions and have a guided discussion. Please note that we will have the chat box open where you will be able to put in your information. That's being monitored by my fantastic colleague, Matt Galello. If you would kindly write in your name, agency, and municipality you're representing, the question in the chat, and if you want that question directed to a specific one of our subject matter experts in attendance today, please note that too, and we'll be sure to address those questions after the respective sessions and then as well at the end today. Again, many thanks for all of you joining us this morning. Now, I want to start with a couple of introductory videos to give everyone a bit of a flavor of really who the department is, what we do every day in some of our other silos and divisions, but also the value of shared services heard from the administration, from our Governor Phil Murphy, who's going to share some of the important successes with shared services, and then a special video from Commissioner Suarez along with our shared services Rs. So we'll start first with an opening video from Commissioner about the DCA. Judith, if you can please roll the video.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Suarez, Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. I'm proud to share how DCA works every day to improve the quality of life of residents across our great state. At DCA, our mission is to provide administrative guidance, financial support, and technical assistance to local governments, community organizations, and individuals. Whether it's helping someone find affordable housing or supporting local leaders, our work is rooted in strengthening New Jersey communities. We've helped create homes people can afford, work to eliminate homelessness in the state, revitalize neighborhoods, make buildings safer for building and fire codes, and support local governments in running more efficiently. Our work is carried out through several key divisions: local government services, codes and standards, housing and community resources, local planning services, fire safety, disaster recovery and mitigation, and the Office of Information Privacy. We also oversee essential agencies and programs like the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, the Historic Trust, Urban Enterprise Zone Program, and the Government Records Council. Our Division of Local Government Services is a strong advocate for municipalities, and it is with that goal of assisting our municipal leaders that you are joining us today. We offer expert guidance and financial support in budgeting, financial reporting, shared services, and procurement. We review and approve every municipal, county, and fire district budget, ensuring the financial health of our local government units. Through local planning services, we provide free planning assistance to municipalities. We help create master plans, land use maps, redevelopment strategies, and economic development plans so communities can grow with vision and purpose. To help residents and partners navigate our resources, we created the DCA Programs Book. This interactive tool makes it easy to explore our programs and connect with the right team to meet your needs. Learn more at nj.gov/DCA. At DCA, we're committed to building stronger, safer, and more resilient communities for all New Jerseyans. Today's Shared Services Symposium will highlight the power of collaboration, creative problem solving, and the community benefits available to all New Jersey residents. Thank you for taking the time to explore the shared services opportunities. I'm confident that this will be time well spent.
Hey everybody, Governor Phil Murphy here. Back in 2018, our administration launched the Shared Services Initiative to help lower costs for our state's families while also improving the delivery of vital public services throughout the Garden State. In the years since then, we have made tremendous progress in promoting shared services, from trash collection to emergency response to public education and beyond. And with these efforts, we have helped increase public safety and simply made life easier for the people of New Jersey. Of course, the success we have seen thus far is in no small part thanks to the leadership of the Department of Community Affairs, Commissioner Jacqueline Suarez, as well as former mayors Nick Platt and Jordan Glatt, who have helped lead this initiative from the very beginning. With their help, over the past 6.5 years, the DCA has awarded more than $18 million to municipalities across New Jersey to support new shared service agreements and to implement them as smoothly and efficiently as possible. These investments have been essential to ensuring that New Jersey remains the best place to live, work, and raise a family in these United States. And we are just getting started. So if you're interested in learning more about the benefits that shared services can bring to your community, I encourage you to check out all of the wonderful new resources that Commissioner Suarez and her team at the DCA have pulled together, along with Nick and Jordan. There are a number of grants available to cities and towns up and down the Garden State, so we can continue lowering costs for our families while at the same time improving the delivery of public services. Thank you all for everything you do on behalf of our municipalities, as well as New Jersey's families. God bless each and every one of you, and keep up the great work.
Hi, I'm Jordan Glatt, former Democratic mayor of Summit.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Platt, former Republican mayor from Harding Township. We were both appointed by Governor Phil Murphy in 2018 as shared service czars.
And I'm Department of Community Affairs Commissioner Jacqueline A. Suarez, and the Shared Service Program is administered through our Division of Local Government Services. Shared services streamline operations, reduce costs, and lower property taxes, all while improving quality of life for New Jersey residents.
There are nearly 600 school districts,
And 564 municipalities in New Jersey.
and many of them are providing services ranging from dog licensing to fire protection, emergency management services, court systems, and everything else in between.
That's why bringing local governments together to see how they can assist one another in providing outstanding residential services at a reduced cost makes sense. Shared service sense.
Municipalities work best when they work together. For example, fire departments.
Sharing fire departments was a great solution for the residents of South Orange and for their neighboring town of Maplewood, increasing resident safety and reducing response times.
They worked with our DCA staff through the process and applied for LEAP grant.
Local Efficiency Achievement Programs, LEAP grants.
There are 3 types of LEAP grants available from the DCA. Challenge grants that provide up to $150,000 to cover feasibility studies for innovative projects that create efficiency generating shared services.
Implementation grants that help cover some costs for implementing a shared service. They offer up to $500,000.
The third is county fellowship grants that allocate up to $75,000 for each county.
And the DCA Local Assistance Bureau staff provide direct support and guidance to all interested local government parties.
I encourage every local official to visit the DCA website and explore the Local Government Service tab. There you will find more information about the program benefits and sample documents.
We're excited to share the experience of towns that have taken advantage of the grant funding and made huge impacts on their communities.
Let's roll the videotape.
Thank you so much, Judith. And it's really gratifying even to see some of these videos and especially I think Governor Murphy's 2018 renewed commitment and policy vision, because this is really about enhancing the quality of life for New Jersey residents, right? Plain and simple. So it's nice to, I think, be here at a bit of a full circle moment to see the symposium and really the gathering and I think a momentum builder to really get shared services across the state. A prime example of shared service program success that we'd like to highlight today is going to be featured by my next esteemed guest, County Executive Dennis Levinson, followed by the Honorable Michael J. Blee and the Honorable Mark H. Sanson, who will discuss the creation of a central municipal court system in Atlantic City. County Executive Dennis Levinson is a dedicated public servant, and I am honored and privileged to provide a very brief overview of his career journey. Dennis Levinson is a lifelong resident of Ventnor and a graduate of Atlantic City High School. He earned a Bachelor of Arts from Glassboro State College, now Rowan University, and began his career as a history teacher. County Executive Levinson entered public service as a Northfield councilman and later served as an Atlantic County Commissioner, where he was repeatedly chosen as chairman. Elected Atlantic County Executive in 1999, County Executive Levinson is currently serving his 7th term. I'd like to say that again, 7th term. Under his leadership, the county has consistently maintained top-tier credit ratings from Moody's and Standard & Poor's, low debt, stable taxes, and a healthy surplus. Atlantic County has received 25 consecutive perfect audits, a result Levinson attributes in part to his policy of rotating auditors every 3 years. County Executive Levinson has spearheaded numerous groundbreaking initiatives. He was the first in the U.S. to equip all emergency vehicles with defibrillators and supported the development of New Jersey's first wind farm and the nation's first onshore coastal wind farm. His efforts to diversify the regional economy led to the creation of the National Aerospace Research and Technology Park, now home to NASA, the FAA, General Dynamics, and others, with expansion currently underway. He's also played a key role in establishing New Jersey's first consolidated court system, the Central Municipal Court of Atlantic County. I want to note just a couple of honors that this dedicated public service has garnered, including induction into the New Jersey Association of Counties County Executive Hall of Fame, Salvation Army Community Builders Award, American Red Cross Distinguished Service Award, and the New Jersey Governor's Leadership Award for Tourism. County Executive Levinson and his wife Patricia have 2 sons, a daughter, and 7 grandchildren. The entire family proudly resides in Atlantic City. So without further ado, County Executive Levinson, we thank you for being part of the Shared Services Symposium, and we welcome you to share with our audience your journey and expertise in creating New Jersey's first central municipal court system.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here. I give a shout out to Governor Murphy and Commissioner Suarez, who I have a personal relationship, and I appreciate everything she has done for this county. A great asset to the state of New Jersey. We do have a central municipal court that we're very proud of. We try to be in the forefront, but first and foremost this is New Jersey. And as the 2 previous mayors stated, 611 school districts, 565 municipalities, all with duplications. Now, when we started this countywide municipal court, there was quite a bit of pushback. And the pushback was always home rule. We have 23 municipalities in Atlantic County. 9 have joined this court, even though we have shown that we have reduced costs by millions of dollars since its inception. We've gotten responses from some towns. We love our judge. We love our prosecutor. We love our administrative staff. And we don't care if we have to pay more. And that's what it comes down to. In fact, one municipal court judge approached us angrily and said, "You want my job." And I believe that's what it comes down to. not what is in the best interest of the people we serve, but it does come down to the idea of home rule. And as foolish as it may sound, that they love their prosecutor or their judge or their administrative staff, outside of the elected government, I don't know if anyone even knows who they are. And this is why we have 9 of 23 towns that are participating. We have gone and we have spoken publicly to the towns, and they'll all get back to us. Well, not too many have, and others will not allow us to come and speak publicly. They want us to meet in committee, where of course it will die. They are satisfied paying extra, and they're going to continue to pay extra until we all understand that home rule is archaic. It is no longer applicable to New Jersey or any other state. Now, I also want to address recidivism. In our court, we only have maybe 1 or 2% recidivism rate, which is astounding. And we've all watched TV and we've seen horrendous crimes, whether serial killers or some other mental case that comes in, and the parent said, we pleaded with you to do something, but you didn't. And this is the end product. We have social services right in the court. So when these individuals come in, whether they're wife beaters or they're drunks or mental cases or whatever else they may be, even those that torture animals, we know where it starts when you end up torturing people. So we have a way to meet them right there, one-stop shopping. And the judges understand that. The social services come in, and it has been extraordinarily successful. So not only is money being saved, but we believe truly in our hearts that lives are being most certainly changed, and we do hope saved in the long run. And we are very, very happy with the court itself. And I don't want to become trite or hackneyed, but the old saying that you can lead a horse to water, and that's exactly where we are. It's here for all of our municipalities. But like I said, only 9 have joined, and the 9 that have joined have saved millions of dollars. So with that said, I'd like to introduce to you Judge Blee, who is an integral part of this forming of the municipal court. And it also gave us great status because of the respect Michael Blee has in this county. He oh, is he? Oh, here we are.
Thank you, Executive Levison, and I appreciate the kind words. Welcome, everyone. I'm Michael Blee. I think at the time in which Rick and Eileen asked me to speak, I was the assignment judge of Vicinage 1, which encompasses Atlantic and Cape May counties. Since that time, as April 1st, I was fortunately selected by the Chief Justice to serve as the acting administrative director of all courts, but perhaps more of a reason for me to be here because consolidation of municipal courts is a policy that I, as the administrative director, will continue. It makes sense for a lot of different reasons. One, it's a cost savings for the taxpayers. 2, it is a more efficient process. And 3, I think you'll get a better quality service from your judiciary in this manner. Before we get to the slide, I just want to tell you a little bit about our story, and I'll let Judge Sanson take over about how this was formed. I started my first day as assignment judge was the first day, essentially, the municipal court opened. So I was not involved in the formation. But things developed during the time in which I served as assignment judge that needed to be fixed. One of which was when the legislation was passed the state police cases were being handled by the Central Municipal Court for every municipality within Atlantic County, regardless of whether or not they were participants. I was told the philosophy was that if we did that, other towns might want to join. In fact, it was the opposite effect. But this is where collaboration with DCA and our vicinage and our court really came into play. I met with Rick Riccadella as well as Eileen Brennan on numerous occasions, seeking their help. The senator from our vicinage, Vince Palestina, had a legislative change that indicated that no longer those cases would have to be handled by Central Municipal Court. But this is one of the things that was just amazing. And this again shows collaboration. I happened to be in Trenton for a reappointment for one of our judges and was introduced to Jacqueline Suarez as she was about to be appointed. I talked a little bit about the issues. Around the end of June, I think it was 4th of July weekend, she said there's some funding available. How much was the deficit for Central Municipal Court? My recollection was about $1 million. She indicated that she had approval to reimburse those towns in the Central Municipal Court those funds. And this is collaboration. County Executive Dennis Levinson and his extraordinary staff, which includes Jerry Del Rosso and Linda Gilmore, had to have an emergency meeting because we had to have the county accept those funds within about 10 days. So they put together an emergency meeting of their entire board shortly after the 4th of July weekend, and the funding came into play. So I want to personally thank DCA, County Executive Levinson, and his staff and everybody involved for really helping us flourish and hopefully continue. And I'm going to hand it over to Judge Sanson to talk about something that we are extremely proud of, and that is services. Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Judge Blee, and thank you to County Executive Levinson. The story of the municipal court, as far as I was concerned, came when I turned 70, and at the age of 70, under the New Jersey State Constitution, judges are determined to be constitutionally senile. So I was too old to remain in my position, and I was chucked out with merely a pension to sustain me. So I was looking for things to do, and it was my first day of retirement. I think I slept late till about 6:30 that day. I got a call at 6:45 from the county executive. He said, Mark, now that you're retired, I had been retired for like 6 hours, would you be willing to engage in a project for the consolidation of the municipal courts? And I said, yeah, well, it sounds like a great idea. I called then assignment judge Julio Mendez, who preceded Michael Blee in the assignment judge. I said, do you have any problem if I do? No, we're really in favor of it. He got me in touch with Judge Grant that time. I spoke to the Chief Justice about it, and everybody says, no, do it, do it, do it. Little did I know what was in store. Jim Ferguson, who was then the county council, and I visited, as Dennis Levinson told you, there are 23 municipalities in Atlantic County. I went with Jim Ferguson morning, noon, and late at night to visit all 23 municipal courts, town councils, except for the ones that I've specifically excluded from. And I was actually kicked out of one as well. So there were two that I was not able to speak with. And I talked about consolidation. Jerry Del Rosso, the county administrator, prepared a budget showing me how much money they could save. And one municipality was going to save $800,000 a year if they consolidated. And it went all the way from $800,000 usually to about $150,000 in savings per court. And some of these are for very, very small municipalities. Saving $150,000 is a lot. One of the larger municipalities was going to save $870,000. But I will tell you, without mentioning any names, not one of the 23 municipalities wanted to do this. And not one were we able to suggest that the Titanic savings for taxpayers was something that they necessarily would want to rock the boat for. Now, to follow up on what Dennis Levinson said, certainly one of the reasons is institutional fear of the unknown. I get that. I can't help but believe that another major reason was the employment generator, municipal employment generator of the municipal courts. And also, and I don't want to be sarcastic, and and I don't impute any bad motivations to anybody, but it's also a source of political donations. So these are the things that drive people against doing what's in the taxpayer's best interest. So what we did is we went and we pitched the program. We had an estimate of the savings that they would effectuate. And by the way, the savings that we projected were low. The savings actually came in much higher because they didn't include police overtime. They didn't include the use of their municipal hall. We didn't have to bother these people to use their facilities. We used a facility which had already been in existence. It was the courthouse in Mays Landing, the original courthouse. The county, and I can't say enough about what the county has done to help this program. They got some grant money, put in about $2.5 million into improving the courthouse, and it is really beautiful. And it is big enough to accommodate the 4 judges who now sit there in lieu of the 9, 10, or 11 judges. We're still in the process of still trying to get more, and hopefully we will. I predicted at the beginning we'd have all 23 towns in within 5 years. I've not been proven wrong yet, but who knows? We're getting close with some other municipalities, thanks to Mike Lee and Sue Shepard, who's the current assignment judge, and many other people who are working on this. So not one wanted to do it. So we pressed these savings, and also here was the concept that in each individual, that many cases that people see in municipal court are of people who are just beginning a life which has turned in the wrong direction. So the theory is, if we can introduce social services, and in this case JFS coming out of Atlantic County, into the court and to sit through every single case, most of which are now virtual, we can intervene in many of these cases and possibly change some directions of lives. And some people said, well, people only care about the taxpayers' money, and I was told, don't worry about the social services issues. But the reality was, I think some of the towns were impacted by the social service issues that we had. My pitch was, there are 3 repetitive crimes which begin in municipal court. I was the recovery court judge in Atlantic and Cape May counties. That was my last assignment. And you find that the first time that specifically three recurrent crimes, domestic violence, addiction, and mental health, show their ugly faces, is in municipal court. I'm not saying there's any non-serious crimes, there aren't, but as the beginning of a road that does not lead in a good direction. When I was a recovery court judge, many people who pled into recovery court at average age 35 had 20 or 30 prior municipal court convictions. Recidivisms, they call them frequent flyers. So if we could address that, and that was my argument, if we can address that, then we would do something good for the state of New Jersey. Aside from the taxpayer savings, we would save a lot of broken lives. And if you look at the JFS report on Central Municipal Court Services, it's not too viewable, at least on my computer screen. We have 98%, only 2%, actually less than 2% of the people have recidivated over the first 2 years. That's tremendous. We have addressed many other social problems, and I know you're not supposed to mention social problems as part of the function of courts, but it is part of the problem. Part of the problem that courts try to address to prevent recidivism. And I believe that this program not only will save the taxpayers a tremendous amount of money, will also, in the end, reduce the crime rate in the state of New Jersey and make New Jersey better. Those are tall words, but I think they're being borne out. We're keeping careful statistics. That's really the story. We got I think we got originally 10 in, one dropped out for bizarre reasons, totally involving employment situations in individual courts. This is a program which needs to happen throughout New Jersey. There are well over 400 individual municipal courts in the state of New Jersey. And to tell you something interesting, and then I'm done, we had to get a statute passed to permit a county court to be consolidated. And it went through a lot of iterations. I ended up testifying before the Assembly. I don't think I testified before the Senate, but I may have, on this issue. And they passed a bill ultimately, which allowed for county courts in only 6 of the 21 New Jersey counties. They are the one in extremely south New Jersey and the ones in extreme north New Jersey, which means most of the population centers of New Jersey where that employ most of the employees of municipal courts was not included in the legislation. Draw your own conclusions from that. This is a program that works. This is a program that's very important, not only for taxpayer savings, which is very important, but also for the people of New Jersey who suffer from particularly addiction, which is something that I'm very familiar with, and which starts average age 12. It doesn't start at age 25. You have to deal with it early. We get people in the Atlantic County Municipal Court into treatment right away. We deal with housing insufficiency right away. We deal with domestic violence right away. And I believe that when the story is told, you will find that Atlantic County will be far better for the existence of this program, not only because of the taxpayer savings, because of the early intervention that we make in various and sundry crimes before they blow into ruining people's lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. If I could just wrap up. So first, I'm glad Judge Sampson mentioned the legislation. I know we have representatives throughout the state. If it is something you're interested in, take a look at the legislation, see if you fall within the district where this has been done. If not, consolidated court is one way, but we're all really seeking as a judiciary and as a state consolidation. That can come in other forms. There is the ability to have a joint court or a shared court, and we're seeing more and more of that happening. In Atlantic County itself, as the assignment judge, we created a joint court between Atlantic City and Pleasantville. There's also another joint court in Atlantic County. So if you can't take a consolidation on in such a grand scheme, think about something on a smaller scale. It's still going to save the taxpayers money. And please reach out to DCA because they could be of assistance. Judge Sampson showed a 2% rate of recidivism. As the director, I look at recidivism rates all the time for every specialized program, whether that's recovery court, mental health court, gun violence initiative. I've never seen a stat of a 2% recidivism rate, not even close. Judge Sampson, you recall our recidivism rate in recovery court generally through the years?
Before the emphasis on jobs, it was up to 50% within 3 years,
which is remarkable. But look at that. And what Judge Sampson is saying, I was his backup in recovery court. Right. And we were both so frustrated when you look at the criminal activity that led them to finally get help. You wonder, why can't you start early? And look at this. This is what we're doing, starting early with charges that may not have that impact, but it appears to be working. So again, I want to thank our county executive in Atlantic County, Dennis Levinson, his tremendous staff, Commissioner Suarez, Eileen Brennan, Rick Riccadello, and on the call is the new assignment judge, Judge Susan Shepard, who certainly buys into consolidation. As some of our friends from Cape May County are on, she served as a council president in Ocean City, a commissioner for Cape May County, and the surrogate, and was involved with the consolidation of dispatch. She buys in, so I know Atlantic and Cape May counties are in great hands and will continue this initiative. I was asked if anybody has any questions, they could put them in the chat here, right? And we can answer them because we're going to have to unfortunately excuse ourselves for other meetings.
That's correct, Judge. And I do have one actually directed to you. So I'll just pose this now. It's coming from Michael Alata in Andover Township. With the limitations that have been imposed on municipal courts to collect outstanding fines and fees, it's been challenging to get towns on board with shared services as their collections have gone down significantly over the past many years. What is the judiciary's plan to give the municipal courts, quote unquote, teeth back to help incentivize shared services by showing court fee collection can significantly offset or cover the shared service cost agreement?
Thank you for the question, Michael. It's been a slow and steady relaxation to be able to get back to more collection efforts. It's something I'm aware of. It really, during COVID, everything, as you know, in terms of the ability for our judges and the courts to really get people's attention was stopped. Judge Grant and his tremendous leadership on a gradual scale continue to allow that. I am all ears and would be willing to consider and make recommendations to the court if they're reasonable. We do not want municipal courts to be cash cows. We want to treat people respectfully and make sure that fines imposed are fair. On the other hand, we realize that sometimes the only way to get someone's attention is through a warrant and or suspension. So it's something we're aware of. Understand my past. I served as a municipal prosecutor, a public defender, a private defense attorney, and a municipal court judge of a joint court. So hopefully that background will help and maybe create greater incentive for consolidation and just make a better experience in our municipal courts. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I see we have another question in the chat, and I think this may actually be kicked to our subject matter experts in Division of Local Government Services, but we have a question from Jill Orlich. We have a shared services agreement in Glen Rock for our municipal court with some of our neighboring towns. Is there grant money available to help with that? And I'll pitch this over to Rick.
Sure, we can. We've closed the grants for this year for LEAP, but as soon as the budget is passed, we're going to open it up in the end of summer for them to apply for LEAP grants that'll become available to them for the 2026 year. If you want, you can reach out to us down here at DCA, and we'll be glad to help you get to yes on that program.
And I urge anybody who's interested to please reach out to Rick and Eileen. I can't tell you how supportive they were of me and our vicinage. Multiple meetings in person, through video. They did everything they could to help us. And I'm glad I can, help them today and create some enthusiasm for this initiative.
Absolutely, Judge. I want to echo that sentiment. I think folks who have interacted with Rick or Eileen know they're approachable, pragmatic, and they'll talk you through, as long as you need to, the plan and the approach, right, to really make sure we land this and you have the support you need. I see a supplemental question in the chat. I think this is, again, coming from Mr. Alada, who Judge Blee, you had answered earlier. If a town already has a shared service in place, a joint court, for example, would there be grant money available to help expand that court? And Rick, if you could chime in on this.
Absolutely. If another town wants to join your already joint court or shared court, there is funding available. And again, reach out to us and we'll show you how to get to yes, to get the program off the ground, startup costs, and make LEAP funds available to them.
Thank you, Rick. I see we have a couple more programmatic questions in the chat. Just a question about the name of the grant from Council President of Trenton, Ms. Gonzalez. We'll make sure to give you that information, Council President. And yes, the slideshow, we can certainly provide that information. We recognize there's some really great details, especially on this latest presentation from the courts that we want to make sure folks have and can pull back as a resource and hopefully as a creative brainstorm as you look to try to set up an analogous shared court service in other counties. So I want to make sure we're mindful of the time. I want to just acknowledge and thank Judge Sanson, Judge Blee, County Executive Levinson, and also a shout out to Judge Shepard as well, who's joining our contingent in advocacy for shared services in the state. Next, I'd like us to shift over a bit to another one of our subject matter experts,
Thank you
County
all
Executive Daniel.
Have a great afternoon and good luck to the rest of the presenters. And thank you all for assisting DCA with this initiative.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. So I want to pivot a little bit, and I'd like to just make sure to introduce County Executive Daniel Benson, who's been an incredible partner with the DCA on shared services efforts. What I want to also note too is that County Executive Benson has embraced the shared service concept with intention. He currently has 4 shared service agreements in place and is working on 2 additional programs. And let me first share a little bit about County Executive Benson's background because it bears repeating. County Executive Benson is a proud 5th-generation Hamiltonian, raising his son Nicholas with his wife, Dr. Honde Benson. After graduating from Hamilton High School West, he earned a degree in physics and government from Georgetown University and later completed a master's in public policy from Rutgers University's Blaustein School. Public service has always been County Executive Benson's passion. Over the past 20 plus years, he has worked in both the public and private sectors, specializing in energy and telecommunications policy. He currently works at Ericsson, helping clients navigate federal regulations. In 2001, he was elected to Hamilton Township Council at the age of 25. And in 2008, he was elected to the Mercer County Board of Commissioners and later to the New Jersey General Assembly, where he now represents the 14th District. County Executive Benson currently chairs the Assembly Transportation Committee and previously chaired Law and Public Safety. He has sponsored nearly 400 bills that were signed into law, focusing on healthcare, mental health, workers' rights, and clean energy. He serves on the Assembly Budget Committee, advocating for stronger community health, equitable economic development, and accessible transportation in Mercer County. County Executive Benson is dedicated to building a healthier, more inclusive Mercer County that works for everyone. Please join me in welcoming County Executive Dan Benson.
Thank you so very much. And just one little correction, obviously now in the new position here, just a little over a year and 5 months. I just want to give a shout out to DCA, both Commissioner Suarez, but also to Rick and Eileen, just for the amazing support since I came in last year in January. And shared services was a really big part of our transition team's recommendation, was looking for ways that we can better serve. And one of the first things we realized when we looked at our structure was that the position of a shared services coordinator was vacant and had been vacant for many, many years at Mercer County. And as a person who was a former freeholder, now commissioner, that was such a really key role for us to have dialogue with our municipalities about ways to share services. And so we were able to hire an individual for that. And again, that was really assisted with a grant from DCA through the fellowship program that covered $75,000 of that person's salary. And then working with Eileen and Rick, they really dove into a number of areas. So the first 2 I'm going to talk about is public safety related. Emergency hazmat response. Each county by statute has to have a dedicated unit or personnel to respond to hazmat incidences. The county has long had agreements that were either informal or mutual aid with 3 of our municipalities that when incidents would occur, they would go out. It wasn't really clear on what reimbursement levels things would be. The county would be able to collect fines under the statute and an ordinance that the county had. When one of the towns, because of increasing costs, decided that they were no longer going to provide the county with those services, we sat down with the city of Trenton and West Windsor, 2 of our 12 municipalities that had a large number of hazmat trained firefighters in their service. And we sat down to work with DCA and those 2 towns provide hazmat services countywide. That included a more formal agreement on reimbursing for costs. And what we did was we did an upfront reimbursement of $50,000 to West Windsor, which was providing about 1/3 of the territory for response. And then for the city of Trenton, $100,000. And that was to recognize that there were both upfront costs as well as to say we would, as part of the agreement, true up those costs at the end of the year and then going forward once we had a better handle on what those expenses were. But what this allowed us to do, the county, and we priced this out, was whether, hey, do we want to bring this in-house like some other counties have? We estimated it cost us at least $2 million if we were to have our own county department of hazmat response. And that was really just on personnel. On the actual expenses of equipment, it would likely have been more from a capital perspective. So making sure that we really nailed down what this model would look like, getting the agreements with each of the municipalities, not only has so far shown that we're getting better services, it has given a lot of there's been a lot of comfort to those municipalities to make sure that their expenses would be covered and that this was not kind of just charity to the county. The other one I want to talk about is air rescue. Mercer County has a county airport that provides both private and commercial services. We have had a ARFF, air rescue and firefighting service there for the air side for many years. We're in the process of updating our terminal, which is a massive $200 million capital project. But where the terminal is going is where our current firehouse sits. And so a number of years ago, we put it on our plan to build a new firehouse in another section that was actually had both better airside service, but also better access from major county and highway roads. Knowing that if there's any disasters that occur on our air side, it would require significant mutual aid from both Ewing Township and neighboring towns for that service. And so that was where an opportunity was seen. This was started by the previous administration. The Ewing Township recognized that they were going to need a new firehouse themselves as they were hiring more professional full-time firefighters. And much of one of their locations was owned by the volunteer fire company. And so out of that, they figured they were going to be moving out of that location. So the county and Ewing Township agreed that they would share the space. And so the county agreed to build the new Capitol Fire Rescue slightly larger so that they can co-locate with the Ewing's professional firefighters. In exchange, the Ewing firefighters that will be housed there are all getting air rescue training as well. Currently, the airport and the county uses private through Protec air rescue services, and that is our primary service, and we're going to continue to do that for the next 2 years. But being able to have the land side fire co-located there and to be trained in air rescue provides a huge amount of support for us when incidents occur, to make sure that not only will we be able to have mutual aid, but they'll be able to access airside without, once they complete their training, without escorts and others from the air rescue side. So this really increases our level of safety as we're expanding a lot of our private carrier and charter services on site, as well as seeking to increase our flights out from the commercial side too. So those two areas really have been very successful moving forward. And again, working with DCA to seek some LEAP grant funding to cover some of the costs. And Ewing was able to, because of that shared service, get a significant grant to cover the cost of hiring these new firefighters for this location. So this has been a really big win, both for the county and for Ewing Township. From an economic development standpoint, and for helping the city of Trenton, and I do want to give a shout out to our council president of Trenton, Yasmin Ali Gonzalez, who's on. The council and the mayor have been extremely supportive. Working with our Mercer County Improvement Authority, there was transitional aid dedicated for a number of projects for the city of Trenton. But due to staffing issues and some lack of capacity within the city, not only with a lot of the paperwork that's often required by state and federal programs, Mercer County Improvement Authority, this is what we do. And at the county, we are poised well to manage a lot of the reporting that's required under different state programs. And so the historic Eagle Tavern, which dates back to the late 18th century, and has had, I think reportedly, of course, much like a lot of locations here, George Washington, I'm sure drank there when it was a tavern, but is a really key part of seeing history of our 250th, and getting it open was really important to the city of Trenton. So working with a MOU, the County Improvement Authority is doing all of the contracting for the repairs to that to make it back open as a tavern and restaurant, as well as managing the process of finding an operator who will work within that site. Again, that has really kicked off a broader discussion about economic development with the city in partnerships with the county, and that has led to the South Broad Street Revitalization Plan. This tavern is near our Cure Arena, which is a sports arena in downtown Trenton that was built 25 years ago. Most folks probably know our ballpark, the Thunder Stadium, which was built 30 years ago. We are working to with a significant amount of investment in both of those to attract high quality sports teams, and is one of the largest ways that people come into our capital city besides our state workers. And so there again, we have an MOU with the city of Trenton using some of those transitional aid dollars to provide all new streets, sidewalks, lighting, to really create a commercial corridor down from the entrance of the city of Trenton into downtown. And this revitalization really helps to attract more economic development. We're already seeing folks in anticipation of that. We're seeing new businesses opening along that stretch, and we're seeing new housing opportunities open up as well. So it's really been a great partnership between DCA, the county, and the city of Trenton. Looking further down the line, Weights and Measures is a service that in Mercer County has, for the most part, all been consolidated at the county level. This is a money loser for most municipalities, anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. 11 of the 12 municipalities currently have the county operate their Weights and Measures on their behalf. And that's been just resoundingly successful. We think Trenton at this time is in discussion with us and DCA to consider taking them on as the 12th and final municipality, and really sharing those resources, both staffing wise, but equipment wise. And again, we would be seeking a LEAP grant for that. Shout out also, I see Councilwoman Crystal Feliciano from Trenton there as well. We've just received tremendous support from the governing body to have these discussions. These are things that just were not happening before, and ways to save the city of Trenton, which is always challenged from a resource standpoint because of the large amount of both county and state properties in there that do not pay property taxes. And then lastly, we see some potential shared services in looking at economic development, whereby helping to provide some additional services for either inspections or permitting, whereby the county is able to hire and be able to use our own staff for inspections as third party, and in some cases through an MOU for other projects that are happening in the city that are of importance to both the county's economic development as well as the city's, so that we can take that responsibility off and the city can focus on both residential and smaller business inspection needs. And then on the transportation, we are already working with DOT through a one-time grant to expand Go Trenton, which is a on-demand electric vehicle service that provides within portions of Trenton on-demand transportation service for anybody that would like to use it. And we are looking to determine whether there's a way to provide shared services for these transportation services long-term by marrying in our senior transportation services at the city level, along with our trade, which is our disabled, senior, and veteran transportation countywide. So a lot of opportunities we think down the line, and we think this is just the start. So again, I just want to thank all of our municipal partners, but to thank DCA for their leadership and support, providing both grant dollars, but also a lot of technical assistance when we ask those deep questions of, hey, is this possible? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, County Executive Benson. And, you know, I think it's just really exciting to see the panoply of different projects coming out of shared services. You know, what's so exciting is I think, you know, as you see more towns and you know, even counties starting to look at some creative solutions, it really does inspire. It gets folks thinking, I think, outside of the normal box, right? When we think of shared services. And so it's really exciting to hear some of the things that have been able to get accomplished, but also what's coming around the corner, right? It seems like good idea inspired good idea a little bit from Mercer County. So we thank you for sharing just your perspective, but also significantly just some of the wins on this front.
Thank you so much.
Looking and checking, of course. Checking in the chat, I do see we do have a question from Ed Grant. This may be for our team in DLGS, but I'll throw it out there. If a municipality is considering providing police services to another municipality, do they have to be an adjoining town? And I'll pitch that to Rick.
Yes, it can be with an adjoining town. There's not an issue with that. Again, everybody has, it's case by case basis and has certain specifics, but if you want to contact us, send us an email down. You'll see it at the end. We'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have on that. But the bottom line for local government services and the Local Assistance Bureau is getting all the municipalities to yes to get them into the LEAP program.
Thank you so much, Rick. And I don't see any other questions in the chat right now or the Q&A. So feel free if also if folks start to think a little bit later as you're reflecting back on County Executive Benson's presentation, we will leave room in the end. So feel free to throw your questions in along the line and we will make sure to get that right to you. So County Executive Benson, again, many thanks to you, sir, for sharing your insights, experiences, and the successes of using shared services in Mercer County Management Plan. Again, I think hearing those creative solutions that others may not have thought of yet is really how we get more folks really with the healthy bug of shared services in their minds as they do efficient planning. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
And next, I'd like to welcome our next presenter, Sheriff Sean Golden, and share a bit of his background and experience. Again, another critical subject matter expert who can share a bit about the success stories that Monmouth County has found with regional emergency medical services. Sheriff Golden is the 76th elected sheriff of Monmouth County, serving as chief executive of an agency comprising 4 divisions: law enforcement, corrections, communications, and special operations. Sheriff Golden oversees the Monmouth County Police Academy, Fire Academy, and Office of Emergency Management, which played a critical role during Superstorm Sandy. And thank you as well for that, Sheriff. I lived in Monmouth County during that time and appreciate the services from you and the team. A lifelong Monmouth County resident and veteran law enforcement officer, Sheriff Golden graduated first in his class at the Monmouth County Police Academy. His career includes serving with the Colts Neck and Toms River Police Departments, working as a certified paramedic for Monmouth Ocean Hospital Service Corporation, MONOC, and volunteering as a firefighter and EMT. Sheriff Golden holds a master's degree in administration from Seton Hall University, a Bachelor of Arts from Monmouth University, and an AA from Brookdale Community College. He is a certified public manager, adjunct professor at Monmouth University, and a graduate of the MA Leads Executive Program. Under his leadership, the Sheriff's Office of Monmouth County has developed innovative community safety programs, including Hope One, a mobile outreach unit combating opioid addiction, and Project Lifesaver for at-risk seniors and children. Sheriff Golden also leads veterans initiatives and has been instrumental in promoting shared services like the Monmouth County Expanded 911 Communications Division to address the ever-increasing needs of Monmouth County first responders. Sheriff Golden is active in multiple professional organizations, including serving as president of the Constitutional Officers Association of New Jersey, secretary of the Sheriff's Association of New Jersey, and also was a former committee chair with the National Sheriff's Association. He's on the boards of NJAC and the Monmouth Ocean Foundation for Children. Today, Sheriff Golden will be sharing the Monmouth County journey to creating a regional emergency medical services program. Sheriff Golden, it's an honor and privilege. Welcome, and we thank you for providing some information and sharing your deep knowledge and professional experience on shared services.
I appreciate it, Kia. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to everyone for putting this together. Commissioner Suarez for her efforts and really dedication to shared services in our communities and counties. It really does show. So please pass along my best to her. If it were not for her, I don't think we would have excelled in our EMS program and our dispatch program the way we have. So I do want to thank her, and she's a Monmouth County resident. So be sure you get it out there. I do want to thank, before I start, Rick and Eileen. They just, and Matt and tremendous staff over at the LEAP grant, and they've done a tremendous job in answering all our questions and guiding us along the way, right? So let's talk a little bit about EMS. This is a problem throughout the state of New Jersey. We'll talk a little bit why that is in a minute. Certainly, everyone knows in their respective communities and counties that response times are an issue, particularly during the daytime hours when we have people that are engaged in multiple jobs, really breadwinners of the family, and don't have time to volunteer during the day. And I'll tell you how we broke that down and the way we went about it here as well. So as we know, with emergency medical services, the challenges of response times and securing EMTs and volunteers to answer the call, and particularly to answer the call in a timely fashion. So I will say this, we have a tremendous commissioner board led by Director Tom Arnone and our administrator, Terry O'Connor. And what we had done in several years prior to establishing the EMS program is talk with our community partners. We had a shared service coordinator in Monmouth County for a long period of time. We've already done a number of shared services, and I think we lead the way in shared service dispatch with over 147 agencies in our communications center downstairs. So they had conversations with mayors and administrators and stakeholders from around our 53 towns in Monmouth County. We did so regionally with 12 or 13 or 14 towns at a time coming in, and wanted to gauge a couple of things, right? One, their interest in doing something about EMS and response times in their community and training of EMTs. Two, whether they would be interested in engaging in a shared service with the county, or whether they were looking to do some type of regional or pay some type of hospital-based system to do some EMS in their communities. And so we had those conversations for, I want to say, a good couple of years, right? As we talked with all the stakeholders around the county. Finally, in the year 2023, later on that summer, the commissioners decided to go ahead and establish an EMS program here in Monmouth County. We put it underneath the sheriff's office because of really dispatch. We have like I said, a really robust centralized dispatch, and dispatch allowed us to do several things with the program that I will talk about. But most importantly, the commissioners decided to establish an EMS program that would be assistive in nature, and that's the key word. We wanted to provide assistance to the communities, particularly during the daytime, and particularly those that were in need. And so we went about making that list. But first, we'll show you a short video of how we did the introduction.
A major shortage of volunteer EMTs in Monmouth County is becoming a concern. The county has one of the worst response times to an emergency in the state, but some local officials have decided to do something about it, and today they announced a major initiative to address the problem. New Jersey reporter Anthony Johnson with more from Freehold.
Flashing lights and rapid reaction are critical in life or death situations or mass casualty events. But when it comes to response time, Monmouth County ranked in the lower half of the 21 counties in New Jersey. The sheriff and county leaders are making a major investment to supplement volunteer departments and improve EMS services.
Our goal is to assist the volunteers and paid professionals, reduce response times, and provide the best patient care that we can.
Last year, Monmouth County had 100,000 calls for help and answered those with fewer EMS workers.
Pre-COVID, there were probably 22,000, 21,000 EMTs in the state of New Jersey. Post-COVID, that number is more like 19,000. So you're losing EMTs while call volume is skyrocketing.
This problem is national. The New York State Department of Health shows that the number of active and certified EMS personnel continues to decline. In 2019, there were over 40,000. In 2022, that number had dropped to nearly 33,000. That's a 17.5% decrease. In Monmouth County, they're making an initial investment of $5 million, putting more equipment and volunteers in municipalities that need assistance. They say this is taxpayer money well spent.
I'll stand there in front of all of our constituents and know that, a day comes when a call has to be answered at their house. I'll know that we did everything financially to assist.
The job of being an emergency services technician has become more challenging with extensive training, continued education, and demands on family life.
It's tough to go on calls, to work on holidays, to be away from your families, but it's rewarding at the same time.
Monmouth County officials say they're going to create a feeder program to encourage high school students to become future EMTs. That way, this can become a legacy program.
Great. So you heard about response times, and as you can see on the slides, the World Health Organization recommends scenes 8 minutes. American Heart, as we know, with the advent of defibrillators, we want those defibrillators on site between, at the very max, 4 to 6 minutes for a high quality chest compression and defibrillation, and to have a successful outcome with access to those AEDs. NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic folks, recommend a response time of under 7 minutes nationally. Just so you know, in Monmouth County, we set that expectation at 6 minutes, and I'll talk about our response times in a moment. Now, when we get to the next slide, he said we had one of the worst response times in the state, and that is true. In 23, when we started evaluating the implementation of the program, we were number 19 out of 21 counties in this 90 percentile range at 18 minutes and 10 seconds. So we've been up and running in February, about a year and 3 months now. We launched in February of 24, and we continue to bring response times down. You see it's at 16:48. Actually, last time I checked, we're at just over 16:10, and we'll continue to drive that response time countywide number down with regard to the over 100,000 calls, EMS calls in the county itself. Now, we're only answering with MedStar about 16% of those calls. Last year, we did 4,700 total. The growth of the program this year, we've already exceeded over 4,000 year to date. And so we know we're going to triple the call volume that we anticipate for year 2025. Now, how did we do that? We went through all of our partners that we dispatched for. We started a 3-year running average on response times. We did break it down into day and evening, midnight response times, because for obvious reasons, the volunteer squads have an easier time manning on weekends and nights. And so we created those categories when we did average response times town by town. We then took those countywide response times and those town by town response times, and we began to heat map all of those response times in the local towns. So that we can show the mayors at various times of day and the locations of where their call is and where their need is most, right? And that led to really two types of agreements for shared services. It led to a backup agreement, or what we call a primary agreement. We now have over 14. Actually, we signed up 2 more towns now for backup. We have 16 out of the 53 towns signed up for official service. We still answer a couple of calls in some other towns, but some towns are primary, meaning we answer the call all day long and all night long. If they do have a duty crew with the volunteers, we let them answer it first, and then we'll take the second call. I should make a footnote here. We do have an agreement with those volunteers that in high priority calls, we're not going to let anybody die. So if they are coming from their house to the squad station and they're going to answer the call, that is fine. But we will probably head that way if it is one of those priority calls of, say, an infant not breathing, cardiac arrest, that burn victim. Again, there's a number of calls that our supervisors are in tune with, and they'll answer the call. And so that's really the driving force, because daytime, again, because of the training needs. Now, secondary to establishing the MedStar program is training for our EMTs. You heard Mike Bascom, who's probably one of the lead EMS guys in the state of New Jersey, in that video clip, point out the decline of EMTs within our communities. We need to pay attention here, and I mean that. I'm calling on everybody on this call as leaders in their communities and counties to encourage this vocation. This is a true vocation that has grown into really a professional job in some areas, including our county. And we want to have a feeder program. So we went to Dr. Ford and our vocational schools, and we're instituting with Allied Health, our VOTEC school, and our law enforcement VOTEC school in Long Branch. We will be instituting EMT training programs. And we will also accept any of those Explorer Post programs from our volunteer first aid squads or from high schools that they come aboard MedStar and do observation and training with us, right? So our hope is, again, to grow the feeder program into the MedStar program so that we can accumulate EMTs, and then hopefully in turn they can turn it into a paid career, but still volunteer for their communities. And that's a big component of that. You see the trending numbers of EMTs, and it's not good. Listen, some of the benefits to regional EMS time is the obvious, as we state, and we talk about shared service on this call, shared equipment, shared resources, shared personnel, right? Very hard for municipalities to do this. I ran one of these in Toms River when I was based in Toms River Police Department, and Toms River EMS is still in existence today. But it is very hard. It's a large town, so it's a little bit easier. And when you get into smaller towns and you have this kind of crisis, very hard to start your own paid EMS. And it's very difficult to watch those assets, I'll call it, those rigs, answer 2 calls a day when it could be answering 12 calls a day. When you have personnel paid that are on staff there and they're only answering 2 calls a day, you are certainly not going to run an operation that pays for itself. And you rarely find that nowadays. Hospital associations are struggling with BLS, certainly because of the billing and the lack of growth of inflation when it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, and other insurance billing. So when you run a single entity program in a community, I'll call it one locale or one location, you do run into these problems where you have a lot of static time and you don't have enough revenue generated on soft billing. Now, we do soft bill in the county here, so that means we don't send anybody to collection that resides in our county, but we do bill services through Medicare and through the insurance companies, and we do have a revenue base rolling into our CFO. It's not going to be net neutral. Again, we had these conversations early on with our county commissioners. Certainly, in a perfect world, you would want revenue to meet expenses. That's not going to be the case. I will tell you right now, it's not the case in local municipalities, and it won't be the case in your county. It's how much do you want to subsidize EMS, and how fast you want to bring down the response times in your respective jurisdictions. And so all of this really took coordination with our 53 municipalities and our partners, but it also took coordination through DCA. I remember when we bought our first 2 rigs and we were just about to announce the program, Commissioner Suarez shows up in my office and says, "We have some money for you. We can assist in getting the program off the ground and continue to grow the program." And to date, Rick and Eileen have certainly helped us out through a number of grants with LEAP for EMS and for dispatch, for that matter, which is another successful shared service program. Now, some of the challenges, again, you've heard from a lot of our speakers, local control is a big one, right? And that's why we try to have those conversations with our stakeholders and partners early on about how we would assist EMS. We don't use the word takeover. We're not looking to take over. We're looking to help out our communities to be sure we drive down response times in the county. So we don't want to be sitting up at number 19 out of 21. And so far, we are yielding results with that program. Our average response time, just so you know, like I'm looking at the map, our computer-aided dispatch map today, we have 13 units on the road right now in 2 regions of the county. We just started in our 3rd region, and we will finish up our 4th by the end of the year. It's a 2.5-year rollout for us with 4 regions. But in the 2 regions, with those ambulances, and our average response time for year to date this year is 5 minutes and 22 seconds. And so we'll continue at that pace. Again, we set a kind of more restrictive goal at 6 minutes as opposed to the 7 minutes by NHTSA and the 8 minutes by the WHO, and we'll continue to drive those down. So, Kia, I appreciate you and your staff all putting this on for us. I hope this was helpful. Certainly, my contact information is available if anybody has any questions about starting an EMS program. I'd be more than happy to help out.
Thank you so much, Sheriff, and tremendously helpful. I want to acknowledge and appreciate that. I think what's valuable is acknowledging that there are bureaucratic complexities, you do run into, some resistance points. And it really sounds like a lot of this was about some intentional messaging. It sounds like that came from you and the team, right? To really get in that buy-in and to really show folks, there may be a little bit of discomfort in this process, right? Or even some insecurities, but this has resulted in better service to all of our residents, right? And that's really the best outcome that we could all imagine. So thank you for that information, Sheriff. I just want to check briefly to see if we've gotten anything in the chat. It looks like I see here briefly just one note, and this may be one for Rick and the team. Philip Drangula had noted, can fire districts utilize these programs, or will it have to go through a municipality? Rick, anything you can speak to on that? Oh, Rick, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Yes, fire districts are a local government entity. They are allowed to join for the application for shared services and LEAP grants, as long as there's 2 local government entities participating in the program.
Thank you very much, Rick. And Sheriff Golden, again, just want to thank you for providing some extensive detail on the Regional Emergency Medical Services Project. If we have other questions kind of towards the end, we'll pitch that back, but appreciate you sharing that experience. And if folks have questions regarding the program, please feel free to contact DLGS. And I'm sure, Sheriff, if you're able, you can give some directed insights to folks that are interested in duplicating these efforts across the state.
Will do. I will leave my email in the chat.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Now, for those in attendance who are inspired by some of the success stories you've heard from folks across the state, now's an opportunity to learn from some of our own DCA experts, namely Eileen Brennan, who's going to be sharing a bit about grant opportunities that the department has that can assist in exploring shared service concepts in your community. A little bit about Eileen. She brings 19 years of experience as a municipal technical advisor and state fiscal monitor, ethics investigator, and manager of certification unit at DCA. Previously, she was the program manager of regional contribution agreements with the Council of Affordable Housing, COA. I'm sure folks are familiar with that acronym. She brings 20 years of knowledge and expertise from her work as a paralegal in private sector law firms, focusing on public finance projects supporting local government entities in New Jersey. Eileen has also facilitated with shared services implementation of the South Ethics Fire Department and the Central Municipal Court of Atlantic County, which we heard a bit about earlier this morning. Presently assigned to the Division of Local Government Services, the Local Assistance Bureau, or as we like to affectionately call it, the LAB. As a municipal technical advisor, Eileen facilitates shared services initiatives throughout New Jersey and administers the LEAP County Shared Services Coordinator Program. Welcome, Eileen, and thank you so much for sharing a wealth of your information with us today.
Thank you, Kaya, so much, and good afternoon, everyone. As we've heard from all of our presenters today on the topic of shared services and the grants that are awarded through shared services, I just want to touch on that a little bit and give you a brief overview of the LEAP grant program. So as you all know, the shared services is an essential part of a broader mission of the Department of Community Affairs, and our technical advisors here at the DCA provide support for consolidation and shared service assistance for these programs, these larger programs that you've heard about this morning. Now, since the inception of the Shared Services Program in 2018, the LAB, or the Local Assistance Bureau, has recorded over 4,000 shared service agreements with an estimated cost savings of over $300 million to communities throughout New Jersey. And we are still calculating cost savings as we every single day through the LEAP program and through our recording of these shared services. So the Local Efficiency Achievement Program is a grant program that provides direct support to local units including counties, municipalities, fire districts, school districts, authorities, any local unit that is defined under the Shared Services Act, to incentivize and support shared services throughout New Jersey. LEAP affords many opportunities to incentivize these services across New Jersey, to advance the mission of shared services and to provide greater efficiencies, enhanced services, and improved safety. As we heard from Sheriff Golden earlier today, through shared services, we are seeing much more greatly enhanced programs through the EMS program, through fire services throughout the state, and also, for the benefit of all the clients who are involved in the Central Municipal Court of Atlantic County. So since the program was initiated in 2020, the LEAP grant program, 120 grants have been issued, and they total a combined award of a little bit more than $18 million. Now, the fiscal year 2025 LEAP grant program just closed this past Friday, and we are evaluating the grants right now. So the awards for the grants for the fiscal year 2025 will be released in July or early August. Here on our slide right now, we're showing just an example of some of the 2024 LEAP grant implementation grant awards. So the LEAP grant program is comprised of 3 different types of grants, but this is just an example of a variety of the different types of implementation awards. Henry Hudson Regional School District, they regionalized their whole program. They were awarded $400,000. And up here also for these grant awards, you see the shared service dispatch from Monmouth County. South Toms River connected with another municipality and they purchased a street sweeper. Atlantic City and Pleasantville, they established a joint municipal court. And the amounts that are shown here on this screen show the award for the LEAP grant. Next slide. Thank you. So the Local Efficiency Achievement Program is comprised of 3 primary components: challenge grants, implementation grants, and county shared services coordinator grants. We anticipate that the 2026 LEAP grant application period will start on or about August 1st, 2025. We just need the 2026 budget to be approved by the legislature and signed in, and we will get that grant program up and running. Also on this slide, you'll see information to contact the Local Assistance Bureau for support or assistance regarding shared services or technical assistance through the Local Assistance Bureau. For questions regarding LEAP, the LEAP mailbox is DLGS LEAP grant at DCA or shared services at nj.gov. These email addresses are also can be found on our website, on the DLGS website. The LEAP Challenge grants allocate up to $150,000 for innovative and compelling projects in each of New Jersey's 21 counties. The Challenge grant allows for up to 3 grants per county, and it's designed to promote innovation and also to provide funding for feasibility studies for larger feasibility studies outside of the purview of the Local Assistance Bureau. So all counties or local municipalities within New Jersey's counties can apply and compete for a share of the $150,000 that's appropriated for the LEAP Challenge grant. The next grant program are the LEAP implementation grants. These are pretty much the most popular grants that we see applications come in for, and they allocate up to $400,000 to cover costs associated with new shared service implementation or expanded shared service implementation. All of the LEAP grants, the county coordinator grant, the challenge grant, and the implementation grant are reimbursement-based grants, and they provide for one-time reimbursable costs. It is also a 75-25 match, meaning if 2 local units apply for 2 or more local units. So the LEAP grant eligibility requirements include a minimum of 2 local units, and that could be county to municipal, municipal to municipal, municipal to a fire district, 2 fire districts, so on and so forth. There are a variety of different ways you can combine to apply for a grant, but it's a 75-25 match. So the local units will be required to submit at least 25% of the costs of the implementation. And some of the startup costs involve new technology costs for a startup program, even for dispatch or the central municipal court, if there are computer program issues, equipment and vehicle outlays, professional services, and in some cases, salaries for up to 2 years for the startup of a new shared service. And we have seen that throughout New Jersey in some certain cases for EMS, for instance, or for dispatch. If if local units want to regionalize their dispatch or their EMS, they may need to hire additional people to fulfill the needs and to be able to fulfill the needs of the shared service. So in some cases, salaries are eligible for up to 2 years. The next grant program is the County Shared Services Coordinator Grants. This grant program allows for up to $75,000 for each county in the state of New Jersey. And currently, we have 9 county coordinators throughout the state of New Jersey. And within this, the county appoints a full-time individual to act in the role of County Shared Services Coordinator. In some instances, some counties have applied for $37,500 and appoint a person to act as a part-time shared services coordinator for the county. So the county program, the coordinator grant program, allocates up to $75,000 to each county for a full-time shared services coordinator or for a part-time. And in that case, they would be awarded $37,500. In fiscal year 2025, we have three new counties who have applied, so that have not yet been listed on this slide, and they are Essex County, Salem County, and Camden County. So we will have 12 coordinators out of the 21 coordinators operating around the state who provide direct assistance to the municipalities in their counties. They act as a single point of contact for shared services within their county, and they also collaborate with the other county coordinators on shared services throughout the state. We administer this program through the whole LEAP program. The county coordinators do get training by the DLGS and the staff of the Local Assistance Bureau. And we are so far seeing a lot of success stories come through as a result of the county shared service coordinators in all of the counties. Thank you all for your time today. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Many thanks to you, Eileen, for that overview and really giving folks, I think, a bit of the mechanics around some of the LEAP program, right? And I know that's of a big topic interest. And again, staff are happy to speak in more detail on specific concepts and ideas that any folks have on this. And again, I want to just give another shout out to Rick and Eileen, incredibly approachable, right? So you can, show them the mechanics, what are the challenges, what are the headaches, and even the relationship building, right? I think a lot of the lesson point hearing from our subject matter experts, as well as Rick and Eileen, is that some of this is figuring out how you're presenting to stakeholders, how you're engaging on these programs, and what are the benefits, right? How are we driving that home and where the end result is going to be beneficial for all of the stakeholders involved. So I see we have a couple questions in the chat. I will go in order. And again, thank you, Sheriff Golden, for putting in your email. Much appreciated. You are always incredibly approachable, especially for DCA, and appreciate you being a staunch support of the shared services program and folks with questions. I see that we have next in the chat from Vincent Quattrone. Can you please explain what a pilot county is regarding a shared service agreement and tenureship? Does this diminish the power of the shared service agreement?
I can answer that, Kaya. Thank you for your question. So a pilot county, back in a few years back, under the Shared Services and Consolidation Act, there was a pilot program implemented in certain counties in the state of New Jersey. They include Atlantic, Camden, Monmouth, Morris, Ocean, Sussex, and Warren counties. Within the pilot county, the municipalities are eligible, if it's feasible for them, to contract with another municipality, enter into a shared service for positions that may include licensing. They could be a registered municipal clerk, a CFO, a tax collector. It doesn't diminish the power of the shared service at all. It just allows municipalities to, under certain circumstances for economic reasons, it allows the municipality to um, relieve a person of their position despite tenure within the municipality. Does that answer the question?
Thank you, Eileen. I think so, but I'm sure if there's supplement, we will see that in the chat and we'll pick it back up, but I appreciate it.
Sure.
Next, we have a question from Frank Rosner in the chat. Would a previous model, such as the North Hudson Regional Fire Program, work as a model for an EMS EMT regional program for Hudson County?
Sheriff?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely, that'll work. Again, our staff is available to help them, get the program off the ground. But I think North Hudson would be prime for doing something of that sort. And there is, of course, LEAP grants available to help them out with putting the program together. We have many fire departments around the state of New Jersey who do EMS along with fighting fires. So it's definitely feasible. And again, we'd be glad to help out the counties to put the program in place.
Thank you very much, Rick. And next here we have, and again, Mr. Rosner, please feel free to reach out to Rick and Eileen and we can talk through more specifics on there. Next, we have a question from Joe Delorio. Has there been any thought to permit cooperative service contracts to be initiated by municipals, especially through the use of competitive contracting under cooperative service agreements? Currently, municipalities cannot extend services contracts to other governing units without going through a co-op setup.
Kaya, I can address that question. Currently, co-ops are not eligible under the LEAP grant program, but we have procurement specialists on our staff who may be able to more directly address that question. If the individual would like to just leave his email about that, and we could have somebody reach out about that question, sort of outside of the auspices of shared services.
Yeah, we get into a little bit of fun public contracting law, I think, when we get into those paradigms on these cooperative service agreements. So, but we'll put a couple of our subject matter heads together. So, Mr. Delorio, if you wouldn't mind dropping your email in the chat, staff will be in contact with you and we can talk through that more specifically, and appreciate your question, sir. Next, we have a question from Jill Orlich, who I know had chimed in before with a question. Jill writes, are there grants available for shared services programs that are already in place or only new arrangements being set up?
Right now, only newer, right under the LEAP grant program right now, it is a new or expanded shared service. So if there's an established shared service and you want to expand it to another municipality or municipalities or another local unit, that would be eligible. The expansion would be eligible for LEAP.
Right, thank you both. And then I just see a comment. I'll just note this from Crystal Feliciano. This is really good information to have. I remember Commissioner Suarez telling us about this previously. It all makes perfect sense and can really prove to be beneficial if we partner strategically. Thank you for the workshop. Thank you, Crystal, for that feedback. We do appreciate it. We have a question here from Mike C. Can a county level, parents or regional level health department service be considered? More and more municipalities do not have health officials. This is sounding very familiar to me. DLGS team, welcome any comments on that question.
Yeah,
so again, as long as it's an expansion of a shared service, and so we are seeing some consolidation efforts across the state regarding county level, regional level health department services, and in the northern part of the state, we're seeing that. So they are eligible because it's part of the county and it would be considered a local unit.
Thank you very much, Eileen.
You're welcome.
And I see we have a question about the PowerPoint being shared. I believe that this PowerPoint will be shared. So just folks bear with us and we'll make sure that this goes out. We know there's a lot of kind of specific details that will be valuable for all of you on the call today and also to share back with your teams respectively to really start brainstorming on shared services efforts. Let's see. Oh, and Eileen, if you wouldn't mind putting your email in the chat, you're quite popular. I'm sure you're used to it being a shared services celeb, but pop that in there. And I know, Rick, you had also offered your email as well. So that'd be great. Perfect.
Yeah,
And
I dropped it in.
excellent. Okay, I don't see any other questions right now. I want to be mindful of time. I appreciate the dynamic discussion we've been having. Thank you to everybody who's been putting in questions. We're going to turn now to the final section of our program before we close out with any additional questions. And I have the pleasure of introducing Rick Riccadella, who you've been hearing from throughout this presentation and was one of the quarterbacks on getting this symposium together along with Eileen. I want to just introduce Rick, give a little bit about his background. He is New Jersey DCA's Division of Local Government Services Bureau Chief, and he's been in that role since February 2019. Rick oversees the Local Assistance Bureau, again, as we call the lab over here, another acronym to add to the table for folks. Rick has 19 professionals that work under his team with various skill sets ranging from public safety, Department of Public Works, finance, and business administration. Rick's background includes over 50 years of experience in public service, 26 years as a local police officer, including 7 years as chief of police, 25 years with the Department of Community Affairs Division of Local Government Services, and 2 years as a subject matter expert in public safety services with the International City/County Association, ICMA, in Washington, D.C. Rick's diverse and extensive experience has equipped him to understand local government operations with a proven commitment to achieving excellence in government, which led to many success stories while identifying waste and mismanagement across the state. Rick has earned the trust and respect of many colleagues and partners, especially during these challenging financial times, and is a huge advocate of the shared services model and paradigm. Rick has also assisted the governor's office with the takeover Atlantic City and the implementation of the County of Camden Metro Police Department, the Borough of Lake Como - Belmar Shared Police Services, the City of Woodbury, and the Borough of Woodbury Heights Police Shared Services, along with the dissolution of the South Harrison Police, with Woolwich taking over the Police and Municipal Court Services for South Harrison as a shared service. Rick lives with his wife, Lori, and children in Toms River, New Jersey. Rick, we thank you for your subject matter expertise throughout this symposium, and I'll kick it over to you to share a bit of your thoughts and expertise with the group now.
Thanks. So one of the things that sometimes we're remiss in talking about when we talk about shared services is the school regionalization program, or SHREP, that came out a little after we implemented the LEAP program. And I think many of the people on this call realize that the municipal budgets are made up of 50 or 60% of the funding coming in from the taxes that pay for the school to perform properly. So what we did was we came up with some legislation that allowed municipalities to enter into shared services or school regionalization that makes sense with regard to shared services. So you can regionalize different curriculums in the programs of schools so that everybody is on the same wavelength when the kids get to ninth grade. And the way the program was explained to me was that some of these children today on the sending and receiving with regard to the schools, some of the curriculums are lower or middle or higher. By putting in this school regionalization program, all the children will all receive the same curriculum. And by the time they get to high school, they'll all be on the same level. So that's one of the reasons why they wanted to put the program in place. Not to mention the fact that it could make up some savings to the taxpayers with regard to the program. Now, we have about 8 or 9 of these programs in place. And what's interesting about it is that you can ask for a consultant to receive up to $150,000 to do an evaluation on the school district. There's no commitment on the part of either school district or three different school districts with regard to it. It's only a feasibility study, and they look at it. But the great thing about having the feasibility study done is that at the time that you start the feasibility study, you can get a reduction in your school aid during that period of time for a year or two. And then it goes for a referendum. And after it goes for a referendum, if it passes, you continue to get the reduction in the school aid so you can have more tax dollars for the citizens of that community. If the citizens reject it, then you go back to your old school formula that they have in place with regard to that. Basically, I want to emphasize to anyone from the schools that are on here or any municipalities that want to contact their school boards and ask for assistance with regard to this. We can help out. We have people on staff that understand the school regionalization. We're always working with the Department of Education with regard to this program. And when the legislators put it in place, they thought it would be good to put it in local government services so we could sell it to the municipalities that this program is available to them and there is a cost savings with regard to it. Next slide. So in closing, I'm hoping that everyone here learned an important lesson today regarding decisions that leaders have to make regarding shared services. And I think we talked about it earlier, which is willpower and the courage to do the right thing to make things better in the communities. The final question is everybody ready for this challenge? Because our team is ready to help out. One of the things that I wanted to mention before I turn it back over to Kaya is in 2018, the czar started this program with Governor Murphy. Since the program started in 2019, when I received the assignment, we had 5 employees working for us. We're up to now 19 professional skill set people on board that understand all the facets of local government, and we can assist anyone. And the great thing about the program is there is no cost to any municipality who requests our help. And if we come in and do a study on your town, there's no obligation. Many of our teams have gone in, done a feasibility study. The towns weren't ready for it. A year later, different set of politicians come in and they found out that we did a study and they want to implement the study. In today's day and age, while we're entering into the next half of the 21st century, I think we have to come up with ideas to save taxpayers' dollars because we have ever increasing issues with pension, healthcare, and other issues that affect municipalities. And we have a commitment here at Local Government Services to provide the service to the municipalities that need our help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick. Tremendously helpful. And I just want to just check back in the chat to see if we have any other questions. I don't see anything immediately striking out. Okay, one in the Q&A. Thank you, Matt. Just see here. Let's see. Matt, if you wouldn't mind just pulling that up for me, you can just drop it in my other chat. I'm not quite seeing that one. Let's see. Okay, thank you so much, Matt. Can the LEAP grant be used to support capital projects necessitated by the expansion of SSAs? For example, we are expanding our regionalized EMS SSA and anticipate outgrowing our current facility. Would it be permissible to apply for a LEAP grant to help cover costs associated with procuring or constructing a new building?
Absolutely, yes. We've helped many fire districts who have expanded their consolidated and needed to have more room for the fire districts. In fact, it happened right down here in Burlington and Mercer County, and we were able to help them out with regard to that. So yes, that answer is yes to that.
Thank you, Rick. A lot of yeses. I think in shared services, sharing is literally caring. We are open to any and all suggestions and creative solutions on this effort. I don't see any other question here. Okay. I'll give it just another moment or so, but I see we're really good on time. If we're able to give folks a little more time back, that's great. And feel free again to follow us on our social media. Please check out our website for information. And certainly feel free to reach out to our staff directly. Their emails are in the chat. We endeavor at DCA to be very responsive, and shared services is something that we look to be one of the many kind of programmatic priorities for the department. So you will be hearing from folks pretty quickly and earnestly on this as we try to get more shared services agreements onto the map. All right, I think we may be at a good point to conclude the symposium. I just want to thank all of our subject matter experts who had spoke today, County Executive Levinson, Judge Blee, Judge Sanson, as well as Sheriff Golden, County Executive Benson, Rick Riccadella, Eileen Brennan. Thank you so much for all of the work and advocacy on your part. I think seeing these lessons learned and also the success stories is really critical. And I think it's coming at the right place, right time. So please reach out to us. Please be in contact. If you have questions, please let us know. We will be sharing the presentation. And so we'll get that back out to all the attendees. We thank you for your time. We thank you for the questions and the dynamic discussion, and welcome everyone to enjoy the rest of their 10 minutes back in this hour. Thank you, everybody, and take care.
Thank you, Kaya.
Thanks, Kaya.
Thank you so much.